Opening night of Collision. Oh, that's really loud. Jesus. All right. That sounds a little bit better. Let's try that again, shall we? Opening night of Collision! That didn't help either, because I was screaming. It's opening night of Collision. CM Punk debut. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And if you follow the industry like I do, it's a pretty exciting night. So, let's start the show. Woo! Jesus. How we doing, everybody? Episode 68 on the first ever Saturday edition of the podcast. This is the post-collision show. Smells like Wrasslin on YouTube. Big night tonight. The question on everyone's mind, obviously, was what's CM Punk going to say? Followed shortly after by what's CM Punk going to do? And he didn't disappoint. He did not disappoint. I mean, obviously, listen, if you follow what goes on backstage, obviously there's a lot of friction between several people in the company, naming CM Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. We all know about the brawl at All Out. Punk tearing his tricep. The Elite being suspended, Punk being out for the last 9 months. A lot of stuff was going on. Not a lot of information about what happened. A lot of speculation. In regards to who threw first punch, who got hit, who got bit, was there a dog involved, who was in the room. It's all speculation because no one from the Elite has directly commented on anything. It was all alluded to, hinted at, but never plainly outright, this is what's going on. So, honestly, we don't know. There are some people who believe Punk's, I guess not even side of the story per se, because there is no sides. None of them have even said anything. So there are people who believe the reports that paint Punk in a good light, and then there are people who believe the reports that paint the Elite in a good light. All I want is good business. You know what I mean? All I want is good business because I like AEW. I like the style of wrestling that they produce. I enjoy it more in terms of me sitting through an entire show more than I do, the WWE. And that's fine. I like chocolate and vanilla ice cream too, but I like chocolate a little bit more. No big deal. And hey, sometimes I have them together, but that's the forbidden door that unfortunately will never be opened. So I just want good. So I want AEW to succeed, and for AEW to succeed, if we're going to talk about it in the financial sense, you want them to do good business. And Punk, his star power and the eyes that he attracts, that's good business. Punk doing what he did at the post-media scrum is bad business. You know what I mean? And if according to the article that came out in ESPN, the interview, obviously, Punk didn't really say anything directly as to what happened that night, but he did say that he apologized to Tony Khan for the media scrum, which is 110% something that he should have done. It was extremely unprofessional. If he had problems, he should have just taken it directly with Tony and just hashed this out behind closed doors. Me, myself, as a fan, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see and knowing that these guys fucking hate each other. And then when it's in the ring, it's a distraction from the story and everything like that. But AEW is kind of a company that's always blended reality with the story you see on television. So it's very interesting. You know what I mean? I think the WWE does this to some effect, but not to a great effect. It's really all the story and the world that they create, and then sometimes they bring in real life. But like AEW is a big like hodgepodge of both, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with their post-media scrums. Their post-media scrums are a little bit of a storyline and like these guys being real and talking real. So I just, like I said, I just want them to do good business, and the eyes that Punk brings to the company is good business, but his like antics are bad business. So it's really like it's like a Conor McGregor kind of situation, you know what I mean? He brings eyes to the UFC, and that brings a lot of money to the company, but the guy's a fucking train wreck. You know what I mean? Punk right now, like, I don't know. I guess I'll talk about this more when we go over what he actually said. I have to go over my notes to actually like, kind of like re-experience it. But I guess like my first thoughts before like we go over this again in depth, like my first thought was, all right, he didn't shit on the company. Great. The line that he said about counterfeit bucks was actually like, I popped for that one. That was actually pretty cool. Again, we don't know what happened. You know what I mean? We don't know what happened. Punk's big thing, his reoccurring theme was, I'm telling the truth, I'm not lying. I guess he's leaning back on the fact that, like, this is just how I interpreted it. Punk's leaning on the fact that he's never really been called out on any lie. You know what I mean? He hasn't spoken a lie. So his thing is, why would I start now? But the problem is, you haven't said anything. It's really just like it's not my fault, it's their fault kind of thing. All right, it was their fault, but like, what's going on? Are we talking about the promo with Hangman Page and the workers' rights? And listen, like, I'll be honest, I had no idea what the fuck Hangman was talking about in that promo initially. I always took that initially as him saying, like, listen, like, you're not a guy for, the younger talent and everyone else like you said you are. So I'm gonna stand up for those guys. Like, I'm gonna be that guy. Like, like if I'm the champion, like, I'm gonna be the one who's gonna take on that role. It's not gonna be you. That's how I took it. If you believe the reports and stuff like that, and you gauge the reaction that Punk had at All Out, something that Hangman said really fucking got under his skin. So the question is, did Hangman go off script and go into business for himself, which is what the rumors were? Is Punk just being overly sensitive? Because, not gonna lie, I've always taken a Punk, and this is just by me witnessing his actions from an extreme distance, obviously, but he always seemed like a guy who had a big chip on his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure that the environment in WWE was not conducive to that chip. You know what I mean? It probably just made it even bigger. It was to me, WWE seems like very like high school locker room like mentality, and Punk was the outsider. You know what I mean? But he was a guy who loved what he did a lot, and it was the passion of what he liked that kept him around. But I also think it was pure stubbornness and the chip on his shoulder that kept him around also. The way in which he left, it was very, like, I can understand dropping and leaving someplace in which you're not happy, and so I get that. As a fan, it was kind of just like, he went on this rant and he went on this, this whole thing where he basically was just like, the way I took it was like, wrestling needs to change, and I'm going to change it. And I agreed with that. When the pipe bomb happened, I agreed with that. That was a time where just Cena was winning everything. The booking was really stale. I was getting really tired of the product. I actually stopped watching for a little bit because I don't even remember Punk's time as like in the Nexus. I didn't watch during that whole like Nexus storyline. But I knew that like it had to change. Like there was stuff that I wanted to see that I wasn't seeing. So I was all in on it. When he left, I was just like, so that's it? Like we're giving up? Like the change started with him, and I figured and pretty much ended with him too. I mean, granted, they had the whole, Daniel Bryan storyline that went incredibly over. And there have been moments that WWE has had, like, moments of greatness, like the Bloodline storyline and that very small pocket period where Vince wasn't involved in the company at all and kind of Triple H kind of was taking over and doing his own thing. But, like, the real change I felt like, I always felt like the end product of the pipe bomb was NXT, because it showed that there was a large group of vocal fans within WWE who wanted something different and who was finding that on the independent scene. And companies like Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and stuff like that. And, there was a market for that. And they found the best of the best in that sphere, put them into the WWE system, and created something incredibly special. Like I say, like, my favorite wrestling period of all time was that, like, core black and gold NXT period. From the time that Rollins won the title to, that I think it was NXT Day 1, which happened, a couple of years ago. That was, to me, the best wrestling ever, because it was the best parts of the machine, like the Vince machine and his production, and the best parts of the independent scene. That's what I thought was awesome. And I thought that the pipe bomb was the first snowflake in the avalanche that created that. And obviously that ended with the creation of AEW, which was, I think, the natural progression in a business sense. Because in terms of AEW, and in terms of the fact that they were seeing a growing, they were selling out arenas everywhere. They were selling out their house shows. NXT was a hot product. There was money to be made, but they never really gave it that push. It was always on it was already on the WWE network, but they never struck while the iron was hot and actually made it an actual television show. Now, the argument could be made it maybe would have floundered anyways, because I think NXT was better in an hour format, and the fact that they taped several episodes in one day, so there was a greater chance for long-term conducive storylines and a better way to tweak things in injuries. And you really can't do that on live television, and then also you have to expand your roster to fill 2 hours of television time. So I think that once NXT went to USA, that was it. I don't think what made NXT great is survivable on television the way that Vince was doing it at the time. AEW ended up taking it to the next level and ended up creating a product that, for better or for worse, has succeeded and now is thriving on national television, where NXT has not. And NXT has yet to put up a ratings win in terms of total viewers in years. Not since the beginning, when NXT actually had Adam Cole and they still had remnants of that great roster. So, Tony Khan allowing what was special about NXT and the independent scene to have its place. And WWE was bleeding talent. They were letting go of a lot of people. They were trimming up for a sale or a merger, which obviously ended up happening when they merged. When Endeavor merged the UFC with the WWE. So, but all that talent was there. Like, the time was right. If you watch that interview with Tony Khan in the latest episode of Wrasslin, he had said basically, like, the ground was fertile. We knew that there was a market for this. The Jericho and Omega match did good money, and that was just more further proof that there was money to be made. And there were so many people that were out of a job based on the fact that the independent scene was completely bled dry by the WWE. NXT had a whole bunch of people, and whoever NXT didn't have, it was with WWE. So, like, it was perfect timing for AEW. So, if you really look at in the beginning, like, what was going on with Punk, without the pipe bomb, there wouldn't be an AEW. And I just find it ironic that he takes steps and does things that would tarnish I would say, his life's work. Like, you have to give credit where credit is due. This started with Punk, with the pipe bomb, with the fact that they gave him the ball and he went with it and went on a monster run and ended up having feuds with The Rock and Cena and fighting at Mania and having a match with The Undertaker. Like, this is what I don't understand. This guy has had an incredible career, and he seems like the most miserable motherfucker I've ever seen. And it's just like, I get it. He's like gone through it, but it's like, wake up, dude. Wake up and look around you. Whatever you're dealing with personally is shitting on the sum total of your life's work right now. Right now. And you may not like who's in charge, and you may not like who you work with, but this is the sum total of your life's work. This is something that you helped create and you helped build in one way, shape, or form. He is, in turn, just as much of a part of the creation of AEW as Tony Khan, as Cody Rhodes, as the Young Bucks, as Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page. So, it just baffles me. It just baffles me that whatever. Now, if they're all under the same roof and under the same company, there's still a chance, people. There is still a chance that these guys will put aside their personal bullshit and make real money. Because the matches that they could do would be incredible. Obviously, with FTR siding with, and not siding with, but I guess being booked alongside Punk as good friends of Punk. That trios match is there. The Hung Bucks versus Punk versus FTR. The Elite versus Punk and FTR. Punk versus Omega. Punk versus Hangman. The Bucks versus FTR. There's just too many matches to be made and too many great storylines that could go on for years. Years. The Bloodline storyline, started in 2020? We're in 2023. It was a 3-year-long storyline, and it was a fantastic storyline. The story that they could do with these men would be awesome. It would be awesome. It would be awesome. I just hope that they are just like, listen, let's make some money. Let's continue the legacy, because now AEW is just as much a part of the Bucks legacy, I think, as it is CM Punk's. The success and failure of AEW rides on the men that have beef with one another. Cody's gone. Cody left. Cody went to the WWE. He made a mark for himself, and I guess he cashed his chips in, and he was able to get a match at Mania with Roman, in which he lost. Now he's being booked almost just like he was in AEW, but Cody, I think, is definitely still the guy primed to win the title. I still think it's going to be him. There's nobody else, people. There's nobody else. Do I agree with the fact that they didn't have him win at Mania? No, I don't agree with it at all. I think it was a stupid fucking booking idea. The stuff that they're doing with the Bloodline Civil War, which I coined that moniker, by the way, so Vince could kiss my ass. He could join the Smells Like Wrasslin Kiss My Ass Club. All right? That was I said that shit. I did. All right? So they could have done this whole Bloodline storyline without Roman with the belt. You know what I mean? Like, it could have, here's how I think it's going to end up happening. I think what's going to end up happening is that Solo is going to stay with Roman until Roman loses the belt. I don't think Solo's leaving. I think Solo's going to stay alongside Roman and be his enforcer, because Roman needs a guy to help him interfere in matches and win, and the Usos aren't going to be there to do that anymore. If you think Roman's just going to just start winning clean from now until next Mania, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your fucking mind. All right? So, but he will be the guy to take the pin in that Civil War match, because the Usos have to win, and there's no way Roman's getting pinned. I'm sorry. There's no way Roman's getting pinned. There's no way Roman's getting pinned until Cody, So, and then I think Roman is going to blame Solo for him losing the belt, and then that's going to be the last person who leaves Roman, which will be Solo. And then what's going to end up happening is you're not going to see Roman for a while. Probably he's going to take a long vacation, and I think he might come back, and then I think that's going to be the start of a babyface run. And they're going to try and roll the dice again and see. And then this babyface run is going to be all built around the Bloodline reuniting. Just like how they did. And I'm not saying they're taking it from AEW. I'm just making a comparison. But this is just like the long way for the whole reunion of the Elite. They faced each other in tag matches. They faced each other in singles matches. Then they slowly started getting back together and mending the fences. And it ended up being that they united under a common enemy. So what's going to end up happening is there's going to be some guy who's going to be the monster champion, who I think will probably be Gunther. And Roman's going to be the guy to beat Gunther. And it's going to be because they were able to reunite the bloodline. They were able to face Imperium, who will probably end up getting one other person, I think. They'll probably end up getting one other person. And that's how I see the WWE rolling that storyline for the next, like, maybe two years. 2 years. But I think they could really do a lot of great storytelling with these guys. They just have to get past their personal shit. I had more of my wrestling friends chat with me in a live like television event for AEW tonight than in quite some time. Punk brought everyone to the screens to watch. So let's see what happens. I thought Collision overall was a great success. I thought it had a great feel. It felt serious. It didn't feel like Rampage. They had big moments. They had big stars. They had matches that had meaning. They had showcase matches, people who were returning. I'm excited. Because this is what I've been waiting for. Now guys like Andrade and guys like Miro and guys like FTR, guys who we really want to see more of on television and we don't see as much of, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, that's what I've been wanting. That's what I've been wanting for in wrestling and in AEW since, like, day one. You know what I mean? Day one. So, let's start talking about tonight's episode. A lot of stuff happened. Hold on, let me get my notes together. There we go. All right. So the show started off with Punk. It was the right call to start it off with Punk. He was the guy that everyone was there to see. And he was the guy everyone was there to see. And of course, like, that's how they had to do it. That was exactly how they booked Rampage. Punk was there right off the bat. So he comes down to the ring. He's holding, like, this bag. I immediately assumed it was the AEW title, and sure enough, it was. But he never took it out. And his boots, his wrestling shoes. So I was curious as to what kind of analogy he was gonna put out there with his shoes, because it sure as fuck was that he was gonna retire. Because no way he was gonna do all this shit and just retire. And I don't think so. But then again, a final match with him teaming up with FTR, fighting his arch nemesis Samoa Joe with members of the Bullet Club in his hometown. I could see him doing that, but it didn't happen. So I don't know whoever thought that was going to happen. So I don't know what he was talking about. So here we go. This is the best I could do in terms of, like, reiterating it and going over it as to exactly what happened. So he said he's tired of being nice. He said he was on the shelf for 10 months with a ruptured tricep. He said as long as he was around, that this would be a professional wrestling business. Okay. Not a popularity contest. If you told a younger version of Punk that he would sell out buildings all over the world, he wouldn't believe you. But he has, and he's gotten here on the backs of smart and passionate pro wrestling fans. So this is him just giving props back to the fans. He said he loves the people because they love him. And he said that they love him because he's been always unapologetically been himself. But there are some people who hate him for that. He says he knows his presence makes people uncomfortable. He says he is the truth. And the truth is painful. Around this time, we start hearing fuck the elite chants from the crowd. Punk says that you can love him or hate him, but we all know he's the truth. He says that people could call him whatever he wants. He said, David, Zaslav, who is a bigwig at Warner Brothers Discovery, who owns Turner, and who essentially greenlit Collision, calls CM Punk one Bill Phil because he's the one true article in a business full of counterfeit bucks. So that was obviously a shot towards the Young Bucks. That I completely popped for that. The crowd popped for that. That was incredible, massive heat. That was just a great line. Punk says he will never compromise. He will always be himself. He says that there are people out there who think that they're owed an apology, and he says he apologizes. He's sorry that he's softer than the wrestlers that they like. Punk grabs the bag that he brought out, and he says that the last time he was in the ring, he had what was in this bag raised over his head. And he says it belongs to him until someone can pin him or submit him. He grabs his boots, and he says there are people who prayed he would hang him up until someone could fill those boots. They belong on his feet. Punk then exits the arena. He has the bag. He has the shoes. The crowd goes wild. So definitely big statement made. It's obvious that whatever's going on between him and the Bucks, he is letting us know that it is not settled. It is not settled, and it looks like I don't think we're going to see those guys in the same building very often until things get settled. According to Punk and according to the Sports Illustrated article, he has reached out to the Elite, and the Elite have refused to talk to him. So, if that is true, then I don't know what's going on with the Elite and why. But then again, we don't know what happened that night. So, I don't know what's going on. I just wish that both sides would come together and make peace and make money, because the two rosters being able to, I mean, I don't even know if we have two rosters. I mean, Tony did an interview recently saying there are going to be certain wrestlers featured on certain shows. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to gather from that? You know, if I ask a question, it's going to be because I want to gain some truth so I could gain a better perspective. But when you give me no truth, I have no real perspective. So if you don't like my perspective and you think that it's wrong, then you should blame yourself because you withheld truth from me. I want to know, is there going to be a roster split? I don't necessarily need to know why, but from what I could infer, because I have to translate this, it looks like Punk will be on one show, the Elite will be on another show, and I assume everyone else is fair game because no one else was in that locker room brawl. So it's just too funny. My friend Allie is at home sick, and obviously because they're sick, I cannot go and visit them. So she's just a character. I'm wishing you hope you feel better, Allie, and everyone in the chat wish Allie to feel better. She's one of the good ones. So that was the end of the promo. The next match, they go right into it. TNT title match. Luchasaurus defeats Wardlow to win the TNT title. Damn, like Wardlow just like he gets it and he loses it. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, I just want that dude. Like, listen, he's young and he's still new in the business, and I assume that there are great things for him. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, we just have to be patient. I guess what I'm feeling right now is as a fan of Wardlow, because I like the guy, is just the growing pains. You know what I mean? He's just going to be that guy for a while until eventually he ends up picking up enough speed and getting enough momentum to carry a title reign or a really great storyline. But until then, he's kind of like he's in and he's out. I am though. Guys like Wardlow will benefit from a show like Collision because there's just more TV time and there's less of a chance for him to get bounced around. So I'm hoping his career gains a little bit more stability. uh, I hope she joins the chat because she has a request, but I told her I will not make that request. She has to come into the chat and make it herself. That's too funny. Hold on a second. Oh man, I can't believe it's taking that long to load. That's silly. We'll do this. And I think this should work. Okay. She's definitely coming. She's definitely coming. All right. So, all right. We'll do this. Okay, so while we wait for Allie, we'll keep on talking about tonight and about the show. Luchasaurus, this was his first shot at the TNT title. They have a big guy match. These guys beat the shit out of each other all over the place. And then eventually, there was a ton of interference by Christian. He ends up smashing a camera over the face of Wardlow. And Luchasaurus gets the pin. I was shocked, but Luchasaurus wins, but it was Christian Cage that was holding up the title belt and celebrating as if he won it. So I do feel like the writing's on the wall for the split between Luchasaurus and Christian Cage. Oh my God, here she is. All right, yeah, Allie has something to say. I'm gonna let her say her piece while I continue with the review. She is like I said, she's not feeling well. So please, everyone, send her your well wishes. Because like I said, she is one of the good ones. We have Andrade defeats Buddy Matthews. Now, this was a little bit of a funny segment because I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting yelled at, but I don't care. I do it because I love you. So you have to deal with it. You're stuck with me pretty much forever. You're literally just gonna have to kill me. Anywho, so Kevin Kelly messed up. Okay, so the ring announcer messed up Buddy Matthews' name and called him Buddy Murphy. Kevin Kelly messed up Andrade's name like a gajillion times. Andrade Idealio, like he just kept on messing it up. So it was kind of funny. I love Kevin Kelly. He is the voice of he's the voice of some of the best matches in New Japan that I've ever seen. His voice is part of the memories and emotions that come up when I relive those matches in my head. So like I love Kevin Kelly. It's a rough night for Kevin. So I'm hoping the next week he bounces back. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to roast him mercilessly online, but Kevin, I love you. Everyone has a rough night. Don't listen to them. You're still awesome and the greatest. Nigel, fantastic. JR, poor JR, man. He fell down. He posted on his Instagram. He has this huge black eye on his face. The poor guy has had Bell's palsy. His wife has died. He's getting up there in age, but like, God bless Jim Ross. He still he still came out there and did his best and did commentary for the final match. But he sounded rough, poor guy. But, So anywho, um, still getting yelled at. Um, so the crowd chanted "Welcome back to Andrade." I mean, this was a perfect matchup to have for Andrade to fight Buddy Matthews. In terms of styles, in terms of lucha, and I feel like Buddy Matthews has this really cool hard hitting Japanese style. He models a lot of what he does after Kenny Omega. So fantastic match. This has Andrade beating Buddy Matthews. I'm assuming they are right now positioning Andrade as a babyface. He ends up getting attacked by House of Black. I'm curious as to whether or not he's going to reform the Andrade family office or anything like that. So I'm curious as to what's going to happen there. And also the House of Black needs a trio to fight them that has like some more cred. I mean, it looks like they have the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, who are still kind of saying that they're a trio and they're gunning for the titles, but there's still yet to be a solid contender to be brought up to House of Black in their title reign as of yet. So we'll see what happens there. They gave us a Scorpio Sky video package. It looks like he's going to be coming back to AEW soon, and it looks like he'll be one of the guys featured on Collision. They have Tony Nese in the ring. He said he's sick and tired of seeing all the fat people in the ring, in the crowd, and basically said he was canceling the show or giving everyone a workout lesson. Oh yeah, or he could team with Josh in the chat saying he could team with Mr. Stink. Which is Sting, actually. Miro comes out, his long-awaited return. He looks awesome. The crowd popped big. He beat the shit out of Tony Nese. So Long Island guy, I love you, Tony, but Miro's the man. So we'll see what happens. Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale defeat the Outcast, which is Ruby Solo and Tony Storm, the current AEW Women's Champion. It was Ruby Solo who took the pin from Sky Blue. They really did push Sky Blue. I mean, they have been pushing her for quite some time. So, it looks like, they want to feature her more, and make her a number one person on the show. So, I definitely think that, that was a great showcase for her. It was in her hometown. She runs over, she hugs her mom. It was a whole big thing. They gave her a lot. She ends up getting the pin, with the code blue. They do a pre-tape interview with Ricky Starks saying that he's going to be in the Owen Hart tournament. He said this tournament was him to win. So, absolutely his to win. So there's his pun. So we'll see what happens. They do another pre-tape. Jeff Jarrett has announced he's assigned for a concession stand brawl against Mark Briscoe. So he says 46 years to the day, his family promoting the Tupelo concession stand brawl back in the day. So it's just going to be him and Mark Briscoe. So, I guess another way to showcase Mark Briscoe and, showcase Jeff Jarrett. He's got some notoriety. The Acclaim come out. They do a rap. They wish Billy Gunn a happy Father's Day. And they said that it's going to be Acclaimed every Wednesday and Acclaimed every weekend. So they said that they're the people's choice. They're still gunning for the trios titles and Scissor Me Daddy Ass. So that was it. Kevin Kelly runs down the Dynamite card. It's going to be in Chicago. Jericho, Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki are which is the same trio that they had at Forbidden Door. They are reuniting to take on the team of AR Fox, Action Andretti, and Darius Martin. Let's see. So that should be good. Chris Statlander is going to defend the TBS title against Taya Valkyrie, so they're not wasting any time with that feud. I'm assuming it'll probably go 3 matches, just to give Statlander a foil in the ring. And Taya's great; she's powerful. So I'm very excited to see how that match is going to go. Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata are going to team against Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. The Guns are going to take on the Hardys. Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe in the concession stand brawl. And then they're going to do a blind eliminator tournament to determine the number one contender to the AEW tag title. Hold on a second. Unbelievable. Anywho, let's see. It's on a delay. That's too funny. That is too fucking funny. So I'm assuming, so this blind eliminator tournament, I don't really know what that is, but I'm assuming we don't know who jumps in. We don't know who's going to be a part of this tournament, you know? And we don't know who's going to be facing who. So I'm assuming every match is going to be a surprise, but you could really only do that for the first round unless there's no brackets. Like, if you win, you could be facing this team or this team. Like, it's going to be all randomized. So I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to do this, but that's what's happening. CM Punk and FTR versus Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe. Obviously the crowd popped big for Punk. They popped big for when Punk got in the ring with Samoa Joe. They did a couple of moves on one another. It kind of started picking up towards the end of the match. There was a bunch of commercial breaks. Obviously this was like the main event, so they made this the longest match on the card. But it was a solid match. Punk with the victory. He has this belt in which he's not showing. I don't know what this is. MJF going to respond that there's another person in the company that's claiming that they're the world champion? Does this mean that there's eventually going to be another match between Punk and MJF in the future to determine who's going to be the undisputed champion in AEW? There are a lot of things that are going on. What's going to go on with Andrade? Is he going to continue to have a feud with House of Black? Is he going to end up forming some shorter trio to compete and possibly win the trios championships? There's a lot of stuff that I don't know is going to happen, but I'm excited. We're really not going to know the true success of... Now, in terms of ratings, I'm not expecting big ratings. I'm honestly not. Saturdays are pretty tough. I'm not expecting big ratings. Me and my buddies were kind of throwing numbers around, and based on my knowledge and what I know as a fan, I'm estimating like 839,000 viewers, for Collision. You know, I think Punk is a big draw, but I don't think he's a big enough draw to bring a pro wrestling audience in on a Saturday night in the summertime. So I don't know. They didn't have that much sports competition, so it was a good possibility for them to pull that off. I don't expect great numbers from them in the future. But what I do expect is a 2-hour show with storylines that matter to make me want to watch and matches that matter. I want this to be just as good, if not better than Dynamite. I don't want the discussion that is Collision another Rampage. I want the discussion to be, what's the better show, Collision or Dynamite? That's what I want. I want there to be some competition. I want the two shows to push each other to the next level, to get this company and elevate itself to levels in which it hasn't reached yet, but it has all the potential of doing so. They've virtually sold out Wembley Stadium. The potential for AEW to reach great heights is very real, but it is still very much in jeopardy right now because they are just so young, and we are still seeing them make mistakes, and we don't know whether or not they could bounce back from all of them. I think for the most part they have. I think I thought it was really bad what was going on with the company after All Out, but they now have CM Punk back. They have the majority of their roster healthy. They are selling out Wembley Stadium. They got a new 2-hour live show on TNT. They have Dynamite on TBS. They have Rampage on Fridays, which honestly I would love to see them elevate that show as well and make it very good. But exactly. Ali in the chat. This freaking warms my Hobbit heart. Everyone mark this moment down. Ali Schuler not only is in the chat, but commented on what she was listening to. This is a big day. A very huge day. I don't know, there needs to be some sort of, is there like a celebratory, like, music that maybe I could put on, or? To the limit. No one left to stand. Awesome. I made such a I had to make a big deal out of it. I had to. But another awesome night of wrestling. Very excited for the future of Collision. Very excited for the future of pro wrestling. Very excited for the future of AEW. We are getting they're not wasting any time with the Bloodline Civil War match. It will be Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos at Money in the Bank in London. So that is definitely going to happen. That is a real thing that is on. So, very excited. You know what, Ali? I wish I had. I'm not okay, but I have to pre-program this stuff. So there was like no, there was no way I to know that you would be on there. But if you promise to make an appearance in my chat at least once a week, I will program this song to pop on every single time you go in the chat. Every single time, I give you my word. So there we go. The challenge is out there. If Ali Schuler Koja shows up in the chat once a week, she gets her own entrance music. The only one of our subscribers to get that. All right? Because she's Ali and you're not. So that pretty much sums it up. We're ending the show on that. We're gonna end the show on that. She's Ali and you are not. That is gonna be the last words of the show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for Doom in the chat. Thank you for Josh in the chat. And of course, the lovely Ali Schuler, who will 100% be here. If you want to see Ali in the chat, tune in next week. She gets her own theme music. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. on this YouTube channel. Subscribe. Tell your friends. It's happening. I'm totally getting yelled at after this podcast is over. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy the weekend. I will see you Wednesday.